Hey guys, in this video, we're walking through the entire interior detail of a mom car kid hauler that really has not been detailed, but deeply needs it. So we're just going over a couple shots of the before so you can get an idea of what this looks like. Now, before we get into all the nitty gritty of what products and tools we're using to get a pretty extreme situation done here, go below in the YouTube description box and grab my free guide to starting your auto detailing business for under $500. If you're looking to get into this business, I'm going to lay out all the tools and products that you need to start your business for under $500 so you can shorten your learning curve. Again, that link is below in the YouTube description box. Now, one of the main chemicals that I'm going to be using throughout this video is the Citrus Safe Touch All-Purpose Cleaner from Renegade. I talk about it a lot. This has become my go-to all-purpose cleaner for any interior that's particularly dirty. So generally speaking, I reach for my Meguiar's APC for most interiors because generally I really do not see super dirty interiors at this point in my business. But when I do decide to take them on, and of course I get a great video out of it, I reach for the APC from Renegade, that Citrus Safe Touch APC. It's diluted around 7-to-1 and it's extremely powerful. Of course, I've got my VX5000 steamer with me as well. The steamer is going to be used on virtually every part of this interior, as well as my detailing brushes as I scrub pretty much every single part of the interior again as well. The fourth main component is going to be my magic erasers. One of the things that you find with really dirty interiors, especially when they're a lighter color, like you guys see, there's a bunch of kind of light gray color around the interior of this car, kind of like the same color as the leather seats are. These cars get so dirty over time, especially when people are carting around kids, just naturally, it's just the natural flow of things, that you actually get accustomed to the interior of the car looking a certain color or a certain shade that it actually is not even designed to be. And so, for example, that's why the magic eraser is so important, because the eraser coupled with the Citrus Safe Touch APC in this particular scenario really works to pull off this thin layer of gunk and grime that has literally coated every part of the interior: carpet, leather seats, steering wheel, hard rubber, vinyls, plastics, and everything that the eye can see. And then I'm just using my interior microfiber towels to continue. Now, as I go down the radio column, I'm going to be using pretty much the exact same processes, switching out my detailing brushes from my magic erasers every now and again, and normally rinsing every area with my steamer and mopping everything up with my microfiber towel. And I'm going to be doing that throughout each kind of compartment of the car. I like to divide the car like a tic-tac-toe board, or maybe a cross would be a better analogy, because you have the driver's side, the back side, the backside behind the passenger side, and then of course the passenger side. And of course the trunk is included in that, but just for the sake of the illustration, I kind of divide it into those 4 sections. And really, this is the exact process I'm going to be using in each section: spraying the chemical, scrubbing with the correct tool as necessary, and mopping up with my microfiber towel and my steamer. As I move to the back, I'm going to be doing that exact same thing. So sit back, relax, enjoy this part of the detail, and I'll come back in as we move to the next section. Now, after I've gotten done with really a part of the majority of the interior, all the hard vinyl, rubbers, and plastics, I'm moving on to the door jambs. And I like to use my super clean degreaser diluted about 5-1. And I've got a yellow spray trigger nozzle attached to my 32-ounce spray bottle. It's a foaming spray trigger. I like when I'm doing the door jambs to get those suds and get to kind of foam up the degreaser. So that spray nozzle, that spray trigger works really well. Then I'm just agitating really quickly with my detailing brushes and spraying all of that grease, grime, and gunk off with my hose. And I'll bring in a towel to mop up some of the just kind of drips so they don't etch in those watermarks. That hard water doesn't etch into the door jambs. Then I'll use my steamer and my microfiber towel to address the top of the door jambs that run around the frame of the car as well as the windows. The most difficult part of the door jambs on a car like this is going to be in the trunk, specifically the area that is actually hinged to the car where all of those hinges lie. That's going to be where the majority of the gunk ends up kind of accruing over time. So the trunk door jamb is expected to take a little bit more time, but this is yet another place where the steamer comes incredibly handy because it's an amazing rinsing tool for those areas that you don't necessarily want to spray a bunch of water into. Now, as we move around the door jambs, I will come back in when we are done. Now, after the door jambs, I'm going to go ahead and start hitting the carpets. And because these carpets are extremely dirty, this is going to be where the majority of the time for this detail takes. Not only is the before vacuuming pretty time consuming because the fibers are pretty matted down at this point. This isn't necessarily your traditional impossible carpeting, but it is relatively difficult carpeting to work with. And on top of that, again, because it hasn't been detailed on a regular basis and all this dirt has been left to accrue, it takes some time to pull those fibers back up through vacuuming, shampooing, brushing, steaming, all that sort of stuff to really make it easier to pull out all of the gunk. The biggest tool that's going to make the biggest difference in this area is going to be my steamer because that high heat and high pressure is going to blow out all of these tiny areas that you would never otherwise be able to clean because those fibers are so matted down. So what you're going to see as far as my process in this particular area is pretty much a spray with the chemical, steaming and brushing sometimes at the same time, and then vacuuming up. And each part of the carpet may take several passes of that exact strategy, just repeated over and over again, simply because the carpet is relatively dirty. This is one of those areas where guys are always asking how they can speed up. And while yes, there are strategies and tools you can buy like the steamer that are certainly going to give you much better results and speed you up, sometimes things like this just take time. that I've got the majority of the carpets done, I'm going to go ahead and address the very back seats, the third row. And with all the leather seats, I am going to be using my magic eraser in a very careful way. Yes, you can use a magic eraser on leather. You just need to know what you're doing, and you need to lead with caution. Now, as I move to the trunk after I finish the third row of seats, I am going to be extracting a little bit because there was some pretty heavy staining in the trunk here, and this would be considered the impossible carpeting. It's not your traditional fibers. This is kind of the backs of the third row of seats as well, and it's more of just stretched out thin felt than it is carpet. So I am going to extract as much as I can, as well as use my drill brush, steam, and I'm even introducing a little bit more water because there was such heavy staining with my hose, and it ends up helping pull that stain to the surface. But at some level, you have to kind of accept that you're not going to be able to pull that stain out altogether because it has permanently discolored the carpeting back there. Now you guys can see I'm using my magic eraser to address the leather seats around the rest of the vehicle, and then I'm going to be using my steamer to blow out the seams. Once again, both of these things are totally fine to do, but yes, a magic eraser can be dangerous, and yes, a steamer can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing in this particular application. But I've got years of experience under my belt, and so I'm not worried about it. One of the things that you'll notice is that I'm using a specific leather cleaner from Renegade called their LVP cleaner. This has kind of become my preferred leather cleaner over a degreaser or an APC, which can be used, but this product is so effective and safer than any other product that I've used thus far on the market. It is that perfect blend between efficiency, effectiveness, and safety. So it just gives me a lot of peace of mind. I like the fact that it's kind of mindless for me. I don't have to think about the fact that the product is dripping down and sitting on the leather seats. You guys see I'm spraying a very liberal amount of the product directly onto the seat, and I'm not worried about it. That ends up being a huge win-win for me. You'll see that after I get done with the leather seats and when we look at the after of the vehicle itself, literally the interior color of the car has changed from a dark sort of brownish gray to a very light gray, almost like an off-white looking color in the shade. And that's what I'm talking about when I say that when you strip this entire vehicle down, you see that you come back to its original appearance that you might not have been used to. I'm using a 50-50 alcohol and distilled water solution to clean up the interior windows before I put a spray wax protection on them. And I'm using a waffle weave microfiber towel to get that done, as well as a sort of reaching tool to get the interior windshield done so that I don't have to break my back getting that done and reaching in all those hard places. Then I'm using my Wilson Auto Detailing medium stiffness brushes and super clean degreaser to brush out the weather mats. And then I'm taking those weather mats into the garage, and I'm going to steam some specific cracks and crevices within the mat that need to be cleaned up at a bit of a higher level where the brush just didn't reach because there's a lot of grooves in this particular weather mat, and that's something you'll find with different weather mats that you run into in your detailing business. Then I'm taking the one removable carpeted mat that was in the car, and I'm going to spray it with some dedicated carpet cleaner from Renegade as well. It's their dedicated upholstery and carpet cleaner. I'm going to steam it at a pretty high level, and then I'm just going to mop up any excess foam with my microfiber towel. There's no need to extract or do any more cleaning to this particular carpet because it was covered with weather mats. Then I'm taking a spray sealant and I'm going to be applying it to the entire interior from the leather seats to the wood veneers to the dashboard and all hard rubbers, vinyls, leathers, and plastics. And while I didn't show it in the video, I do put a protection on the carpet as well, the G-Technic Smart Fabric that pretty much waterproofs the carpet. But my camera died, unfortunately, and I didn't get it on camera. But that dried in about 20 minutes and those mats would be ready to put back in the car. And now you have a completely clean and protected interior from the windows to the plastics to the leathers to the carpets. And in just a second, you guys are going to get to see a detailed look at the after part of the interior. Now, if you guys are checking out the after here and you want to know which tools and products that I used throughout this video in a more organized way, go below in the YouTube description box and I'll lay out links to every single one of those products so that you can see what products and tools it takes to get results like this and what I use on non-maintenance details, just vehicles that I see on a one-off basis. In addition to that, I want to remind you guys, if you're new to the detailing world or if you've been in the detailing world for a while, go below in the YouTube description box and grab my free guide to starting your auto detailing business for under $500. As always, thank you for watching. If you're new and you haven't yet subscribed, smash the subscribe button. And as always from Luke, here at Wilson Auto Detailing, Keep working hard. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.